Okay, please, welcome to the poetic recital with Fatal Brains. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, my dear friends, all world across. Okay, let's go wait through the brain of poetry. Today there is a little change. Yes, like the two I will be handling my responsibility of hosting to Shilpa Didi, who is our, core member of Fertile Brain Inspo. So please welcome her and join, applauding her and just enjoy your ride with our host, Shilpa A. Shilpa Didi. Yes, yes, whatever it is. Yes, ball is yours. Okay, yeah, mic is yours, Didi. Go ahead. Please turn on your mic.
Hello and welcome to all the members over here on the open mic poetic meet of Fertile Brains. And thank you to Brother Prasanna also for organizing this event. And I'm really very delightful today to be your host on this open mic event. And a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the members according to your time zone. And today I'll be beginning the program with Mr. D. Dan Mercia, who is a member of Fertile Brains. He'll be reciting few of his poems today. Mr. Mercia, the mic is all yours. You can begin your recitation. Please unmute yourself.
Good afternoon from Romania. Thank you very much. I am impressed by this very warm welcoming from your part. And thank you very much also for your understanding and for offering me the opportunity of reading us the first. I'm going to read a poem called The Backwater Hijira. A poem I presented in a completely different context in a within another show this week. It is actually a new poem, actually, because I worked very much on its polishing. Okay. C'est la vie, all right. No more pink Beaujolais, car ça fait du mal. No more sweet apple pie, but only ketonal, healthy, white, and dry. And no more sparkling water to add, just good old ringer cocktail instead. That's what he ordered. That's what he said. Rule right away enacted, word quickly spread. Reward for the good, punishment for the bad. But sins, just closed skies, silent shrine, service no more divine. Icon dolls, icons duel, faces with no eyes, ruined churches, walking dead Christs, prayers like a scream, banned promised paradise, no crime and punishment. Infinity without him. So cheers, guys. By the way, no matter who cries, no matter who thinks it was funny, today you don't look for me anymore on that Gethsemane place, rather, nor in the house of my father, even if that's what they claim, that I'd have claimed myself loud and straight in that old holy book of his when I was about 8 or something like this. During some stupid game of seek, cry, and no hide, for there was no one to be guided by and no one to guide. And you all thought the same, that I'd lost my ways within that great shrine, ready to take over the scene, only mine, because it was supposed to have been only his. before. Well, not anymore. So why did you betray your apprentice without a kiss, my lord? Where did you move, Dad? Whom did you leave your shrine? Whom did you sell your seal, your wine? And whom did you give in your sword? It's all right. I know you have never had one, for you never fight. Yes, in the best case, you are left behind. Therefore, maybe it should have been mine. You know how they say through, like father, no son, or something of that kind, or how, or how it was. Well, never mind for now. I know you couldn't move too far away, nor could you properly betray, yet you are able to. Still, you can't do more than it makes you feel, that's it. Still, you can't take less than you'd fit in it. Can't share the same infinity with you, the same, but with a different me. Infinity itself can't fit into its self, for all its selves are equally infinite. Infinity itself can't share its share as long as there's some different infinity within it that doesn't fit in there. So you can't take away the infinite as long as you are just a part of it. You can't pretend to disappear that late from the reality you used to claim you had just started to create. It takes infinity to reach its end. And if you want to be eternal, there is a whole eternity to spend. It takes an unlimited mind to build and set no borders, and it takes balls to finish what you started. We know it's not your kind, for if it were, I would have maybe reached the world some normal way and had some normal father and been some normal man. But rather, once again, let us forget what people say. You'd better use infinity as shield against infinities before and after this. You'd rather wear the veil of mystery and wait until they discover you, just as I used to do when I was 8. But in whose house do you think you'd dwell? And which is the story you're going to tell the ones eventually welcoming you? Why did you search for me everywhere? Didn't you know you'd find me in my father's eternity? Or maybe in the end, you'll tell them the whole truth, a truth they will not understand. That you, unhappy with your own unfinished, barely started, poorly managed infinity, tried to escape from it, for you were longing to another one with a modern view and with a different look, and for a brand new holy book, maybe for changes in your New Testament to be. Just by the way, if so, I guess you know now you were wrong. All this had been already done, prepared, but for another story and for the never-ending glory of someone else's whole infinity, and for his different holy book to be, according to a different pattern going on. For sometimes people also say, no father like son. But if I may, all of this, just by the way, that different way just starting now, if you have time to spend and feel like it, just watch. Don't quit, but watch until the end, for your eternal night is over and you won't see it anymore, for now it's me they're waiting for to come down in their sight. My word, my magic, and my time are waiting to spread. I'm going now. Farewell, my father. I am not sorry, Dad. Oh, and what about the Beaujolais? You guys, believe me, please. I really don't know what it is, and I don't really care. Don't kick and don't push me that way. There's no wine here, you see. I am your hero. You're my story. I came to set you free, to offer you my new personal look over the history, and finally to meet my time of glory, demasking him, his lies, his limited infinity, old book, corrupted backwater Hijira, to open that so long-awaited era, new, clean, directly led by me, based on a brand new testament, granting no limits to infinity and total restitution of what was yours, of what he stole from you, thus finally accomplishing the promised revolution. To be. What do we want? But do we really want it? When do we want it? Do we really want it now? Well, maybe so, or maybe not, or maybe I don't know. So if what, if not you, then who? Of course, I knew the story, and I used to think, it, at least in the beginning, it was mine. But what was really hard to take the time was that the book was theirs. Just like their gods, their priests, their shrine, their duff, and who cares what else? They didn't need some alien rabbi to teach them some new stuff. Their story tells about some open, unlimited sky and about getting back what some said it was theirs. And once again, who cares? Too long to follow that track. My story, too long to explain. In short, they only wanted Beaujolais. This was enough. I didn't have any, of course, but they found some at the one they choose to be absolved instead of me, as well as at the one who washed his hands. So things were done. Their brand new book to be fulfilled, to rise, to raise, and shine. And thus their story ends for me, not mine. So how it was? Not too different, of course. Or does it look like that? Oh yes, it does. For it was written long before I was born. My Golgotha, my thorn, my Calvary, between the other two, my cross. But it was also something more. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. With there no answer following that call, and all this was still visible for all but the meaning of his silence as answer to my grief. No, it was not his time to leave. I was the one who broke the rules he gave, trying to sing a different song, to build my own infinity and to revolt against the time he gave to me, not realizing that I was a perfectly defined small part within his whole establishment, itself a perfectly defined as all he does. And let it sound as stupid as it may, but yes, I was wrong. I mean, let all this be my punishment, for all this was my sin. So in the end, you all may think, ça m'est égal. Well, this is not quite true. It's not the same for me. Therefore, from the cross I am deservingly spending, I'd like to cling with all of you, if not some wine, at least a glass of ketonal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mercier. It's a very wonderful and beautiful rendition, and it was very powerful as well as uplifting also. And you have given beautiful emotions and also vividly mentioned that we all are ultimately human beings, and Almighty is there for us to take care, and we cannot escape from the deeds we have done. We have to pay for what we have done. We have to be responsible, and we have to bear the consequences for what we have done. It was a really beautiful rendition from your side, and as beautiful as your country, Romania in Europe. Uh, and now I'll move on to another participant, and I'll call upon, because in the beginning only Miss Heera Nawaz requested that she has to leave early. So the second chance I'm giving to Miss Heera Nawaz. Ma'am, please unmute yourself and you can take on the charge. Ma'am, you can recite your verse. Heera Nawaz, ma'am, unmute yourself.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
Okay. First of all, in the country where I live, India, it's evening time. So good evening to the Indians, and according to which places you stay, good morning and good afternoon too. So the poem I'm going to recite is based on the environment, since the Earth Day was held recently in April. Now in this poem, I have written about the present environmental situation on the earth. Is a time when there is water pollution, air pollution, the trees are being cut down, the rivers, the fish are dying, the wildlife is getting extinct. So I want to ask you, dear friends, 20 years from now, what do you think the situation will be? Now, many may say very pessimistically that the situation now is so bad, it will get even worse. But I want to take a positive stand on this whole issue and tell you that usually when things are very bleak and dark, God always steps in and gives a positive twist to the whole situation. So listen to my poem, and at the end you will find out the twist. It's called The Earth Reborn. In the year 2023, the pollution was unprecedented. There was not a verdant tree in sight. During the pandemic lockdown, people were stuck indoors, leading to many a family altercation and fight. Factories were letting go of the deleterious gases and thus polluting the once clean and bracing air, making the air much less pure. But the green trees were now minimally bereft and bare. Water has become insidiously polluted, and the wildlife, birds and fish were dismally dying. Women were harassed and overworked in chores, while children were piteously crying. When will the foolish man understand and discern that in environmental fiascos, they can't eat money? But now it's too late. The disaster has struck indiscriminately, and the results are not at all funny. Hark! God resisted, ordering the rain to come down in torrents, for even bad times cannot last forever. The beautiful brown and green earth was reborn. Yes, God has been watching and is insidiously clever. After hiatus of 20 transformative years, the earth awoke to a picturesque panoramic scene. The sky was azure blue, The clouds were pure white, but the leaves were an emerald green. In the year 2043, that's 20 years from now, the metamorphosed earth has been rebirthed as God's gift to a transformed mankind. Recall the words of P.B. Shelley. When winter comes, can the lovely season of spring be far behind? The beautiful flowers and colorful butterflies inspires even a stoic critic like Hard and me. For in the final analysis, don't you realize that poems are written by fools like me? But only God can make a tree. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Heera Nawaz. It was a wonderful rendition, and I would like to say thank you to you for highlighting upon the fact about the awareness and conservation of our environment. Now here I'll just give one piece of information, share one piece of information that this environment, the conservation and the pollution in the environment as well as conservation of environment has been has been a concern throughout across the globe since 1960s and 70s, and there had been a first summit about environment in 1970s, I think in Rio de Janeiro or somewhere, I don't remember correctly, but in that summit they had decided to place the environment into first place and have a sustainable development in all countries across the globe, though that concept of sustainable growth and development came to India very late after 1990s. But in 30 years, from 1970 to 2000, because of the attempts made by all the environmentalists and the countries and the laws made to protect the forest and their animals and their inhabitants and all, they could conserve a great amount of forest and all, but because of the increase in population and the use of natural resources and emissions of the greenhouse gases, there has been a lot of damage to the environment, though we are trying to conserve and the environment is rejuvenating on its own, but not to the same pace. So this is just a piece of information I wanted to share regarding this. Now I would like to call upon.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Now I'll call upon generalizing Brian France for his rendition. Are you there? Yeah, you can take the charge.
Thank you very much. How do I pronounce your name? Is it Shilpa?
Yes, I'm Shilpa.
Okay, I just want to make sure I can pronounce your name correctly. Thank you, Shilpa.
You can start your camera also.
Oh, I can't, because if I put my camera on, my audio goes down because I have little.
Okay, okay, you can take the charge.
Okay, so thank you. I'm going to do two short poems. The first poem is a sonnet. It's called Opting for Arson. Only if I should choose to kiss your lips, rather than to just shyly say goodnight. With the slightest touch of your fingertips, blood zooms through my veins at the speed of light. I inhale you, fating myself to faint. Your rapid breath fuels the beat of my heart. My passion has found a path not so quaint, with no finish and never-ending starts. Your scent is but one thing I shall obsess, and your love has found its way to my soul. My love for you shall never more digress, lest I bury my heart amongst the shoals. But such a spade I shall never require, because our love is an eternal fire. And I'm going to do one more short piece, which is about, there was a recent mass shooting about 2 weeks ago that happened at a birthday party in a dance studio in a small town in Alabama called Dadeville. And I'm sure you're aware of all these mass shootings that are happening in the United States. And this is called Elegy for 16 Candles. Dear sweet 16, your birthday party was not supposed to be a surprise party. I heard your grandmother baked a hummingbird cake. Did everyone there sing happy birthday? Did you get to blow out the candles? There's a rumor your brother switched regular candles with candles that don't blow out. It wasn't supposed to be a surprise party. There wasn't supposed to be an indoor fireworks show of gunfire. It wasn't supposed to be the subject of a sheriff's press conference. I wonder if the candles were lit and the cake survived. I wonder if the joke candles became a candlelight vigil before anyone else knew what happened. I wonder how long it took for someone to wet their fingertips to extinguish the candles. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Franz. It was a beautiful sonnet, and very few people nowadays write sonnets and recite it. I understand that it is very difficult to write sonnets because of the syllables and the counts and the rhyming scheme and all. But it is really wonderful to hear your sonnet. Now I'll move on and I'll call Mr. Richard Spiaks. I'm sorry, I couldn't pronounce your name
Quite
properly.
all right. Quite all right. It's Richard Spisak.
Okay,
that's
Richard
all right.
Spisak.
Shilpa, and
Yeah, welcome. Welcome to the event, and please recite your verse.
thank you so much. An honor to be among this elite group of poets from across the globe. And I thank Fertile Brains for the fine work that you do. And I know it's not easy to bring all these folks together and to guide them. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Here's a couple poems to make you think and laugh. First, I want to read this one. It's called Rapid Unscheduled Disassembly. There's one of those millionaires who plays with toys, and he built a rocket and it went up in the air and blew up. And instead of admitting simply that it blew up, that things went wrong, they said instead it was a rapid, unscheduled disassembly. And when I hear a phrase that felicitous, I think we have to re-employ it and use it to another purpose. So I now offer you my poem, Rapid, Unscheduled Disassembly. What happened to that planet there, dear uncle? It experienced rapid, unscheduled disassembly. Now that planet is just a memory. Was it hurt by a comet? The young boy said. No, my lad, it was destroyed by what was on it. Was it a sudden outbreak of disease? Didn't they have what they need? No, my boy, sadly, it was all about greed. Did the water boil away? No, little one, it was the polluter's hand, they would not stay. Did the air turn all of a sudden volcanic? No, my boy, but the mob ruled and kept the foolish in a panic. Did a meteor fall from the sky? Nah, 'tis a sorrier tale, said I. They drowned in a great sea of guns. They never knew what they had done. Did no one warn them? What was said? Never enough, boy. They must have had in their heads there was some planet B, and they'd just go away and hie away, you see. Now it's just a stinking ruin. Uncle, is it true what they say about that ancient race, the humans? Sure, and 'tis sad, my son. There's nothing doing with that sad sack race. What do you say, uncle? Isn't there some grace? You're kinder than that. Here's what I say. Take care of your planet, and happy Earth Day. Now this is a funny story. This is called A Mob of Sea Urchins. Now, sea urchins, if you can picture them, a little spiky ball that lives on the bottom of the sea. These are normally vegetarians. But just recently, scientists have seen them turn carnivorous and attack the starfish that feed on them. So this is called mobs of sea urchins. In a world of science, they discover under the sea a new kind of non-vegan violence with this sea urchin mob startling unquiet. Sea urchins, who already have their points, normally quiet in their vegan grazing, their reputation has suddenly taken quite a hazing. The sea urchin mobs are attacking starfish, it seems, and I almost hate to say it, it sounds quite alarmish. Sea urchins, usually sea stars, usually prey on urchins, doing in their dining them a mortal disservice. But scientists have recently noted, it seems, the sea urchin's revenge is not the stuff of dreams. It's been seen in the lab in a sea urchin study. What was left of the sea star was mangled and bloody. Not enough to even invite out for coffee. Sea urchins that are usually vegetarian preferring their toffee, not ever dining on quiet librarians, yet somehow they've become a danger, Mysterians. When confronted by a ravenous starfish, they gather together. It can get more than alarmish. They mob the starfish. It's not for the squeamish. It suddenly even seems quite obscenish. They collect into an ugly mob, and when a dozen or more gather, they do a scandalous and bloody dangerous job. And last, I leave you not just the world, my friends, but I offer you the universe. The universe. The universe, of course, is all that matters, nothing worse. Nothing, neither thinner nor fatter, a crazy, lazy, mad hatter. Stay the course, no such curse without reverse, no, not in the other purse. Of it all, encompassing everything including, in course, your brand new, shiny, diamond-plated, understated pinky ring. No, not ever. No ever edge, no separate thing, no spilled beverage, replacement seams or no such things outside the box that Jason Fox outwits the dogs, soaring over reality's scaly, mossy, hairy, glossy, half-drowned logs. You might think, take it outside, where some brassy, classy bell might ring, or passing collide with some other thing. Sure, we're clear. We encompass a lot, even of all the energy, everything, my dear, by heaven's trumpets hot with beer. You might detect from the smallest sound, by gravity's far-fetching grabbery unchecked, profound, detected, not misdirected in any old background micro-radiation reflected, where that old misnamed Big Bang kind of sort of redirects. What do you expect? Hunger pangs? Some misalignment of synergistic waves, all matter, all distance, all energy, come what may. It even includes the blanket that almost nearly I entirely hear you hide you away. All the matter, both dark and light, even inclusive of old Jim Morrison's Endless Night, every quanta of energy included, even from the classic microwave background, I concluded in the laugh track playing on the sitcom you're swaying, the Everglade never swing, even the muted reflection off your pewter astrolabe, the ringtone in your ever-clutch phone just played, and from your next-door neighbor's backyard barking dog to that frog there, creaking, croaky, on camouflaged, where, my dear, spotted doting on yon floating moss-encumbered log. All this exercise, this of all there is intended solely to give you a sparkling, divinish kind of kiss. The universe, my friends, it's all for you.
Thank you, Mr. Richard. It was a very thoughtful and wonderful recitation on your behalf, and it was nice to hear from you again. And now I'll call upon, just let me check who is waiting. Mr. Sylvia Ang. Sorry, Miss Sylvia Ang, sorry. I'm sorry. Pardon me. Miss Sylvia Ang, please take the charge and recite your verse. Miss Sylvia Ang, unmute yourself. Okay, I think I'll call her again next time. Now, Mr. Michael Anthony, can you just take on the charge and recite your verse? Michael Anthony, unmute yourself. You
All
can
right.
recite.
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Again, my name is Michael. I bring you greetings from the nation's capital of the United States, Washington, D.C. I'd like to share two pieces from a very old book. My very first book is out of print now. The first is titled, Love Does Funny Little Things Before Dying. Before dying. Love does funny little things. It buries all remnants of its broken and forgotten heart in its own grave. Before dying, love does funny little things. Once I fell in love. One time was enough. Funerals are not my favorite thing. And the second one is titled, When I Dream of Paris. In the 1930s and 40s, a number of African Americans moved to France because the racism here was so great that there was a different tone in France at that time. That it made it more palatable to the system to live in another country. And as a little boy, that was what I always wanted to do, was to move to France when I read those stories, and Paris specifically. So again, this is When I Dream of Paris. When I dream of Paris, the sky is filled with expatriate desires. Desires that mill and flow like darling landscapes across the horizon. I walk briskly along the Champs-Élysées, stopping only to drink coffee at a small cafe near the river's edge. I must drink quickly because expatriate desires don't linger long when you live in small town North Carolina, a place where Dolly is better known as the name of the melancholy schoolgirl who lived fast, yet died young. But when I dream of Paris, my nostrils fill with transporting fragrances, smells that lure and enchant like the city of light itself. I inhale the beauty of La Sacré, excuse me, I'm trying this again. I inhale the beauty of La Sacré-Cœur, Montmartre, and Montparnasse, and sniff delicately the flowers of Le Jardin de Luxembourg. But I must exhale slowly, because transporting fragrances don't linger long when they're bundled up in sacks of dirty clothes that your mama washes for neighboring families, and it's your turn to sort them through. But when I dream of Paris, the night is filled with the music of Josephine Baker. I eavesdrop as her siren song carves the twilight with Je deux amours. I must listen intently, because the voice I hear is not that of the femme Josephine, nor is the gentle wail of Mrs. Mary Alice Grayson, an old woman that my family visits at the Greater Peace Nursing Home. In her room, in her private world, she shaves the night as she listens to music that she alone hears. She smiles and curtsies to the men she knew when she knew no loss or pain. Breathless from antiquated memories, she clutches her tattered purse and fingers the red silk rose that is still pinned to her dress. But when I dream of Paris, I stop the dream and I awake to a more realistic life. Thank you. All right.
It was nice, Mr. Michael, and wonderful to hear you today. And
Thank you very
it
much.
was very powerful, and with a lot of zest you had given the rendition today.
Well, I got mangled up in it a little bit, but I get overly excited when I share poetry.
No, but
Right.
that real feel, you have given that today to your own verse.
All right.
Okay, now I'll call upon Miss Sylvia Ang to recite her verse. Ma'am, please unmute yourself and also start the video. Miss Sylvia Ang. Unmute yourself, ma'am. Unmute. Ma'am, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Unmute your mic.
Yeah.
Brother, can you unmute Miss Sylvia?
Okay, I got it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, this
Ma'am, take
one
the
I wrote recently, but I cannot remember whether have I read it, but I just try reading it. It's called Loving You. Dear, I look you in your eyes. I understand, I know what you've been through. You need not say a word. No explanation is needed. Just remember, I'm here for you, anytime, anywhere, loving you tenderly. I will hug you tightly so that you will feel good. This poetry artwork signifies young love. That's for all. Can you hear me about finish?
Yes. Sorry. I was just looking at the other people's chat also. Sorry for that. Yes, it was a wonderful rendition on your part. And it was very short and sweet. Now I'll be calling up Gargi Mishra. Gargi Mishra. Please.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Shilpa. A wonderful evening to all my friends back home in India, and cheerful greeting to everyone around here, to all the erudite and respected members of the Fertile Brains. This is the second time I'm getting this opportunity to recite my poems, and I today came up with 2 poems. One is based on philosophy, it's a philosophical one, and the other one is observational, which I just jotted down in about 30 minutes. So let me begin. The first one is the tramline. Before starting, I will give you a brief background information. Because I stay near the tram line, there's a tram stop nearby my house. I keep on observing people who board on the train, and there is a nice network and connectivity to everywhere around the city of The Hague, Netherlands. So I actually missed this tram service in India. I thought of writing down a poem on it. So here it is, the tram line. Since I stay near the tram line, whenever free, I sit beside the window pane. I wonder and watch over people with with undefined identity and anonymous name. Students refreshed by a little slack, sprinting along the running track, making sure not to get late, holding on to their friends just like their backpack. Various professionals busy online, perhaps getting late for the closing deadline, faces expressionless, routine, and thoughtful. Their appearance presentable, suave, and refined. Writers with huge books and with fertile brains, aligning their thoughts in an undisturbed chain, ideas popping up after last night's rain, jotting quickly down as they mustn't go in vain. Couple of musicians with their instruments and band, or travelers carrying updated diaries in their hand, cops and police looking for suspicious stand, everyone doing their jobs as per time's demand. Tourists are on high numbers as summer turned on their heel, marched out of their rooms and boarded the wheel, eating their food and heading towards the eastern hill, appreciating the city's exquisite feel. Roads and streets so crammed with vehicles, urban or rural, connecting all circles, promising comfort without any hurdle, thanks to the tram lane in my city's middle. So here is my second poem. Infinite progress. Infinite progress. From womb to tomb, we are on constant quest to prove the worth of our very existence, whether you have the metal for the mission or not, whether your body gives you permission or not. You may not be ready. It's chilled to your bone. Your ligaments may tear, but still you got to run. A pattern of connection is formed with people you pass. You might be walking together for last few hours. Will give you the foothold to the stuffs that you love. Remember, they are the secret agent sent from above. Before you wake up right from the nightmare, they will disappear from your wide-eyed stare. They are the ones you mustn't let go. Recognize the fake ones who massage your ego. From swooping birds and the peeping moon, your fantasy will be shifted soon. The neon lights, the gimmicks and beer, the towering buildings touching the stratosphere, the elevators, the concrete, the cables and wire will change the definition of your real desire. While you flap off temporarily with fulfilling feather, like popping up bubbles, your dreams will wither. So don't keep basking in the glory of success. Serve others, do good for an infinite progress. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gargi. And I am really amazed that you have so many things around you to prompt you to write poetry, as well as such a beautiful observations, and very thoughtfully you have mixed in and woven it into your words in a beautiful poem of yours, and beautiful observation with a lot of depth, and also you felt the emotions and vibes of the surroundings you have. It was a very good rendition. Now, because there is a request, some few of members have to go early. So 2 members I'll call early. First is Miss Alexandra and second is Miss Garima. So first I'll call Miss Alexandra to recite her poem. You are a very regular, ma'am. You are a very regular member in recitations, and you can start, ma'am.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, can you see the graphics going on?
Yes, I can see. I think all the members are able to see.
You can see
yeah.
the images going by. It's
Yes.
not stuck on one
Flying
image.
15. Yeah, I can see
but-
flying 15.
So you can just see the cover.
Yes, right now the cover. As you go on
Okay,
playing it,
then,
I think
I'll keep
you-
it small then, that yeah, you couldn't see it.
Okay.
Keep up with that turquoise lover, so full of love and kindness. Before doubt compromises every fleshed out interaction. Keep inviolable, honey-sweetened utopias, sinking in a black swamp of remorse. Leeches of greed, sucking on lust and shame, enduring through our biggest mistakes, emerging into our new biggest improvements, into new consummations of refined affection, earth blooming with polychroming, cultivating virtues, olive branch rites turquoising all plentiful harvests, Keep up with that cleansing, so salving for each wound. Before pus infests every vital feeling and thought. Keeping soft every hardened organ. Our hearts tormented by dark red memories. Collapsing at the gates of our own perdition. Crawling through our narrow bloodied trenches. Discovering new veins of replenishment, new streams of purification, untainted rivers gushing ahead boundlessly, blue-crested sky showers cleansing all defilement. Keep up with that life so deeply longed for, before it kneels at the precipice of its own abyss. Keeping zoetic every favorable breeze, burning in the eternal chaos of our own unquenchable inferno. Aspirations melting, courage faltering, glowing through our own embers, bursting into new, cleaner flames of rejuvenation, singing new songs continuing beyond mortal existence, clear transcendent winds blowing reinforcingly to the ends of the vast earth, mastery of life surpassing all adversities. Keep up with that oracle so devotedly worshipped, before it fades at the end of the nebulous sky. Keeping alight the torch of insight, our philosophies crucified by false innocence, hiding behind false gods, thrusting through ugly, thorny dogmas, taming new wild wisdoms, new unchained channels of magnificent revelations, lightning-eyed eagles ceaselessly circling, oracles as rays resurrecting all spiritual forces. Hurry, keep up with those flights so brave and so free, before they explode in the anguish of the universe, keeping high the grace of this sky blue sphere. Namaste.
Thank you, Miss Alexandra. It was a very, as always, motivating and inspiring. Now I have two members who want to leave early. One is Miss Garima and another is Miss I think Refat Wani. So I'll first call Miss Garima Sudan to recite her poetry, and then I'll call the other member. Please, ma'am, take the charge.
Namaste. Thank you so much, Shilpa ji. Thanks a lot. A good, very good evening, good afternoon, good morning to all the people around the world on this beautiful platform. I'll be reciting my poem in my mother tongue, that is Hindi. I'll be translating it later after finishing this. It's all about this. My poem is about poetry, the concept of poetry, and the the mood swings of the poet goes through while writing the poetry. So the title of this poem, okay, I'll be reciting in Hindi. कविता का शीर्षक, कविता इतने नखरे कभी कभी तुम क्यों दिखाती हो? तुम हम कवियों को ऐसे क्यों सताती हो? गर तुम्हें हम कभी लिखना चाहें, सोचकर जिन शब्दों से घिरना चाहें, पिरोए हुए उन शब्दों की गुल्लक लेकर तुम भाग जाती हो। कविता इतने नखरे तुम कभी कभी क्यों दिखाती हो? तुम कुछ दिनों से तुम बहुत मनमानी करती हो। कभी ख्याल आए कि इस विषय पर तुम्हें लिख डालूं मैं, कभी सोच में पड़ जाऊं उन शब्दों को चुनने में। तुम हम कवियों की ऐसी उलझन क्यों बन जाती हो? कविता, इतने नखरे कभी कभी तुम क्यों दिखाती हो? पर कभी तो आसानी से तुम रच जाती हो। कविता, तुम हर कवि की कल्पना की मूरत भी तो उनके अनुभवों से परिपूर्ण सच्चाई की सीरत हो। दृश्य और श्रव्य तुमसे हैं उभरे। These are the types of poem. दृश्य और श्रव्य तुमसे हैं उभरे, रूपक प्रबंध गजल पद गद महा और खंड काव्य तुमसे हैं निखरे। कवियों को तुम शब्दों को दिल से संजोने की विद्या सिखाती हो, बारीकियों से सोचकर लिखने की विधि से अवगत कराती हो। लेखन पूरा होने पर उन्हें आनंद और सुकून का एहसास कराती हो। कविता, तुम में खूबियां हैं बहुत सारी, कभी तुम छोटी और नटखट, कभी तुम लंबी सुघड़ और प्यारी। तुम कभी गंभीर और भावनाओं से भरी, तो कभी तुम गुदगुदाती सी ठिठोली करती हुई गठरी। तुम नज्म, दोहा, गजल और शायरी कवियों से गुफ्तगू कर उन्हें कितनी बातें बताती हो। कभी तो आसानी से तुम रच जाती हो। कवियों के साथ साथ ढेर सारी वाहवाही तुम भी पाती हो। प्रशंसा पाकर हम कभी गदगद हो जाते हैं और स्वयं तुम भी कितना नाम कमाती हो। कविता, तुम हम कविगण की पहचान बनाती हो। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, थैंक यू सो मच। I would like to just give a small gist of this poem in translation to English. The title of the poem, like poetry, why do you throw so many tantrums sometimes? Poetry, why do you sometimes throw so many tantrums? Why do you annoy the poets like this? If we ever want to write to you words we want to surround ourselves with, you run away with a piggy bank of those words. Poetry, why do you sometimes throw so many tantrums? Some days you are very arbitrary. I think of writing to you on this subject. I think of writing to you on that subject. Sometimes I get engrossed in choosing those words. Why do you become such a mess for the poets? Poetry, you are every poet's figment of imagination. So from their experiences, be the character of perfect truth. The sight and the sound have sprung from you. Allegory, arrangement, and the other types of poems, what we see, like for example, lyric poetry, haiku, sonnet, limerick, narrative poetry, there are the types. So what I have mentioned in Hindi, those other different words. So flourish with you, poets to you, words from the heart, you teach them to write through straight from the heart. You teach the knowledge to cherish, thinking through the details by way of writing. You inform on completing of writing joy and peace. You make us realize poetry in you. There are many virtues. Sometimes you are small and naughty. Sometimes you are detailed, you're long, gentle and sweet. Sometimes you are serious, with deep thinking, with deep concept behind it. You tell them so many things. Poetry, why do you throw so many tantrums? You get created along with so many poets. You also get applause. We poets, after getting praise, feel so happy and contented. You earn so much poetry. Poetry, you create the identity of us. You create the identity of the poets. Thank you.
Thank you, Garimaji. It was a wonderful rendition, as well as you have given a very good thought, as well as the identity. Really, the identity of the poet is because of the poetry and the words.
Thank
And
you so
sometimes,
much.
really, the poems are created in few minutes, and sometimes the thought is
It
there,
is.
but we are not able to give the right words to the poem. It happens with me also. So it was a very beautiful rendition. Now I'll
Thank you.
call, because on the on a request from many members, Mr. Issac, I'll call you. Just wait for a few minutes. I'll call first few members who are already on the list. I'll call you soon. Ms. Refat Wani, you can recite your poem. Please take the charge.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. I'm sorry, I have to actually leave. I had to leave before 8. I have some other meeting in line. So I first of all would wish Assalamu alaikum to all of you over there, and with warm and heartfelt greetings, I would be starting it. Actually, I have recently got my book published. It is The Melancholic Tales of a Half Orphan, which portrays the culture as well as the agonies of our orphans in Kashmir particularly. So I would request you all to read it and drop reviews, what all you felt or what all you got after reading this. And I will be, it's an amalgamation of poetry and prose, so I'll be reading out one small poem from this only. Okay. Thank you for providing the chance. The poem is about hope. It's a very small poem. I'll be reading it out since I have very small time left. I'm short of time. Okay, it's about hope. Come on, just wait. You need to hold on. Come on, just wait. You need to hold on. A lot is to come and a lot has gone. It is the truth of nature. Thus, you need to move on. Indeed, impatience captivates us. But no doubt, patience cultivates us. Only hold the string of patience. Thus, will you visualize your joys. Hold on and let the fruit ripe to account the results of the tears that you have wiped. Hold on and move on. Hope prevails. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rafat. It was very short and sweet. And as you don't have much of the time, because of short of time, you have to leave. Anyways, now I'll call upon Mr. Issac Cohen on his request, because he also have some urgency. Mr. Issac, unmute yourself and recite your version.
Well, I thank you, Shilpa, and thank you, Kumar, and all my friends in the world. Today, I read a poet about the grass. Yes. Genesis 5:24, and Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Yes. Issac Cohen. Enoch. Enoch prepared a tasty meal. Suddenly, a knock at the door. A poor man with torn clothes and worn out patched shoes asked, "May I have a piece of bread?" Enoch invited him into his home. He gave him a meal and kept adding food until the poor man was satiated. Tears of smoke left the poor man's eyes and went to the throne. God took Enoch, whom he set next to himself, to look at the goodness. Together they contemned the evil. Thank you, Issac Cohen, Israel. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac, for your rendition. Now I'll call upon Mr. Ray Whitaker, Colorado, USA. Please take the charge.
Good morning, everyone. It is morning here in my country, and it's a beautiful day here in Colorado. We're finally starting to come out of the winter, and there's no snow on the ground today. Yay. It's so nice to be here and amongst a group of folks, and I do appreciate being included in this group.
Yours is in temperate region, right? So we are in tropical zone.
I know. That's one of the lovely mysteries.
We had this last 1 week before we had a heat wave, severe heat wave over here.
That's one of the lovely mysteries about participating with this group is that people are from everywhere, and people are in all these different time zones, and it's just and the fine poetry. I'm so proud to be a part of this group. Thank you for. I have two poems today, and one's long and one's short, but it's not terrible long. But it's the first one is called "Going to Berlin in 1970." And does take place in that year, 1970. They were traveling by train, the whole family, for Thanksgiving. At 17, it felt like being 30. Courage for the I am strong enough to face the I don't know what. Speaking German, wishing to know words. Even so, he was in his own thoughts. Where does genuine live? Is it in amongst the realizations of the self? Traveling with another colonel's family, with another son of 17, both in railroad overnight sleeper berths. The colonels had to be in uniform, crossing enemy territory as it was. The enemy's armed soldiers at railway stops in the dark warned us not to exit the cars if the train stopped, and that we must have passports at the ready should they be demanded by the communists. It would take all night to get to Berlin due to the many stops, having left the freedoms of West Germany fluttering on flagpoles at the border. It was the first time, really, that he was aware, like, no kidding, that the suppression of men could be such a real thing. That realization never walked away again. The sight of man's inhumanity to man that persisted for the rest of his years, this epiphany became a finely tuned trap detector, like gauging spoken truths for authenticity or assessment of mood or rank at a glance. Sometimes both revealing and understanding were pushed into override with wisps of smoke coming out. He had to get out away from the despicable source. What of the half-truths or the lying and the unnecessary competitions in foolish men's lives? Sleep was a casualty of that night. The excitement of so many AK-47s, the danger slung on the enemy's shoulders during the travel to West Berlin. So divided, one of the few walled cities left in the world then. The Berlin Wall was a living, breathing beast. The beast was hungry to eat those that loved freedom, and the East had walled all the way around the West City with guard towers sporting machine guns, overlooking barbed wire. We were free to think and speak our minds, carrying on the tradition. That is why our fathers wore the uniform. Yet there was Checkpoint Charlie, a passageway out of gray oppression, crossing over into sparkling clean air. It was the point of cruel suppression beyond unfair dictatorship, made by the hundreds of small white crosses placed to honor the dead where they had been murdered. Those that had sought out of the chill, shot dead, having dug under the wire, perhaps hidden in the trunk of a car under blankets. These sights stayed with him far into his future years. The detector tuned not to just seeing lives, but to detect the oranges of tyrannical narcissism. He felt he had breached the walls of Mordor there. In the east, walkers dressed in darks and grays. City streets were unkempt, paint on walls peeling. A stark contrast to the hustle and bustle of the west side, where there were freedoms even to wear bright yellow, should one want to, and to think unencumbered. He sought the exploration of the self ever since, gathering strength, asking the critical question, the hard question, finding his answers where they may be in a song, a poem, or readings of the great works, perhaps in some direct act of a caring sort, observing when life reached that occasional pinnacle where truth junctured with an intensity combined with spontaneous, deliberate acts of kindness produced in those moments of humanness that people remember and talk about for years later. He remembered Berlin all his life. His walking up to the communist wall of Checkpoint Charlie, seeing the machine gun in the tower, ranging his steps, following his direction, his mother standing there wanting to scream, as he gently removed a loose brick from the wall just by the enemy's gate. Even the Western military policeman directing traffic watched him step back away towards safety. Taking that red brick, an act of a youthful sense of invincibility, became a brick in his own wall. The brick is now in his study, even now, holding an honored place on a shelf near the volumes of philosophy, becoming a power cell in the course of his life, a light shining into the darkness, showing what it means to be a real human in this world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ray, and it was really nice to hear the problems and troubles people faced because of the division of Germany. And we can see that later on, after the Second World War, it got divided, but later on, because of the will of the people, it got united again. And ultimately, the atrocities of the governments and how they have created the situation for the people. Like ultimately the people lost their patience and they did what they wanted. They united the country and they became one. So it was a wonderful recitation on your part, and highlighting on it was beautiful. This thing, I liked it. And now I'll move on to Miss Gangalaxmi Patnaik. Please take the charge, ma'am. Unmute yourself. Unmute your mic.
Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure to receive my consent from Shilpa Madam to attend the live video program. I'm really extremely impressed with this. And now I am going to recite 2 poems regarding the environment. Now I would recite about the indoor plants. A house plant, sometimes known as a pot plant or an indoor plant, an ornamental plant that is grown indoors. As such, they are found in places like residence and office, mainly for decorative purposes. They also improve outlook on work, boost productivity, sharpen attention, reduce stress, improve mental health, keep air cleaner, provide oxygen for us and all other animals. Now, my title of the poem is Go for Oxygen. Title of the poem is Go for Oxygen. Long ago, my granny, holding a palm fan and fanning, preachingly told me to keep indoors. Long ago, my granny, holding a palm leaf fan and fanning, preachingly told me to keep indoor plants. Today, her words echo in me, will back to me like pretty faces switching on the light. Today, her words echo in me, will back to me like pretty faces switching on the light. I see indoor plants standing, its belly swollen with oxygen, a flower of my granny's fulfillment swaying gently by breeze of inheritance. I see indoor plants standing, its belly swollen with oxygen, a flower of my granny fulfillment swaying gently by breeze of inheritance. It really hurts. Eyes, blood, ooh, distress, low oxygen, supply in body affects acutely, fear is everywhere. It really hurts. Eyes like blood of ooh, distress, low oxygen supply in body affects acutely, fear is everywhere. So scatter indoor aloe vera, tulsi plant, honey plants, snake plants, best air purifiers, anti-radiators. Scatter indoor plants like aloe vera, tulsi plants, snake plants, best air purifiers, anti-radiators. Excellent balm for sunburns, effective defense against airborne allergies, bearing words with laughter, oxygen provider. Excellent balm for sun, effective defense against airborne allergies, bearing words green with laughter, oxygen provider. Now this first recitation is over. Now, madam, I am reciting a small micro poem about the frogs because Save the Frogs Day has gone yesterday. Now I want to pay my ode to the frogs. Now I would like recite another poem about frogs who are freshwater creatures and played the role as environmental indicators. During day, they find hiding spots. They waited until the heat and light of the sun have passed. So let us save frogs. So let us save frogs. The title of the poem is Poem Frog Evening. Poem Frog Evening. Yesterday is National Frog Day, April 29, 2023. The poem is like this. No one speaks of frogs these days. I thought I should, if I could, I sing an ode to frogs. No one speaks of frogs these days. I thought I should, if I could, I sing an ode to frogs, who tune their tongues to the rhythm of my songs, where I discovered the connection between frogs and ecological balance, who tune their tongues to the rhythm of my songs, where I discovered the connection between frogs and ecological balance. His garrulous eyes stare like sparkling metaphor for poems. Marriage ceremony between two frogs pleases Lord Indra to drench lands in hot summer if rain ceases, pattering on roof. His garrulous eyes stare like sparkling metaphor for poems. Marriage ceremony between two frogs pleases Lord Indra to drench lands in hot summer if rain ceases, pattering on roof. These days, as I move, found people drawn to green creatures, hopping around and believing they are swimming, relaxing, swelled like wind. These days, as I move, found people drawn to green creatures, hopping around and believing they are swimming, relaxing, swelled like wind. I have pet a frog, it's always into my room. In evening, unfolds its tongue to insects, floundering about burning bright with a half moonlight. I a pet frog leaps always into my room. In evening, unfolds its tongue to insects, floundering about burning bright with a half moonlight. Now the recitation is over. Thanks Kumar Prasanna ji and Shilpa madam and other poet friends. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Ms. Gangalaxmi. It was wonderful that you have highlighted upon the plants as well as about the our environmental indicator frogs. Yes, environmental indicator frogs. Because we nowadays a lot of urbanization is happening, so most of the people are insisting on having this decorative plants and useful plants in the small spaces we have. So thank you for your rendition. Because of a shortage of time, I'll just hurry up now. I'll call upon Miss Nayma to recite your ma'am unmute.
Okay, so I'll start. First poem, Noritor. There is no return to Safi because now it is Safi, a word to express enough that it could ever be enough. When I feasted on you through its streets and cafes, through the craggy coves and bloodlit bars, the light twisting and turning like blood, swirling, burning in the buried recall of the heart, where once its roads ran like rivers of red and green, magnificently magnified exaltations, unabashed, uncontainable ululations, and nation's pride exploding in an anthem of bellowing beeps, making moon eyes over seafood platters, smiling as we snuck the cat a prawn, riding the glorious crest of that dawn, the richness of comfort making us fatter. I have abandoned the throne above the sea, its living surface ablaze with bejeweled grandeur, the bogus queen with illusions of grandeur, never believing such beauty could deceive. I will not return to your hopeless dream that trespassed its hope on the heart and dared me to aspire to the stars as the heavens fell apart at the seams. I will not stroll on her dazzling beaches where you gently cupped and kissed my hand, where my name lays buried in the sand, the breeze carrying away hope's pieces. I will erase you from all maps that lead to you. Perhaps I may hear your name on another's lips, and reminisce retrieves you, and the heart skips. But the heart's folly will find no pathway to you. Thank you. And
Thank you,
second
Ms.
piece.
Nayma. It was a wonderful rendition. And
Sorry,
now
my second piece. This is called The Road. The Road to Murzuga. Leaving and ascending, weaving and bending. La ilaha illallah echoes from afar. The squat palm trees that sprout green feathered fountains, the dug trenches and abandoned tools on the floor. As arduous labor stops to heed the call of Zohar. An aqua sky serenely welcomes formidable mountains. A mechanical beetle rising and falling. Amazi colors flicker past the eye. A patchwork of the fruitful and bone dry. Lethargic dogs in the shade, blissfully snoring. The simmering streets of Wurzezet, freshwater streams in Hayt Ben Haddu, Dadi's Gorge, in the valley we dally, flanked by clay monoliths. Clear water gushes from its seat, and we lean in to wet our lips. Still the road ahead pushes into a horizon of gold and brilliant blue. The sun's sear shimmer like a delicate bridal veil, delicately complementing her fiery stare without singe or tear. Blushing gold and opaque, trailing into the brazed air. The groom, in an indigo headdress, waits by the aisle. Rotund women in billowing cotton robes with small children wind through parched fields where relentless life still yields tufts of dehydrated defiance, barren brown and evergreen. An intrepid explorer relinquishing the hours and the days, forging through the rock and the dust, the temperatures stewing life's lust, postcards of natural splendor bathed in sumptuous rays. In the desert, shadows of camels and their passengers accompany us to camp, sprouting emerald where life still flowers, and the black beetles scurry and scour for droppings where quad bikes and jeeps leave swirling patterned stamps. The silhouettes who stretch out to greet the setting sun as the camp tents welcome the heat-glazed caravan. Fed and watered, we lazed by the campfire's glowing hum, dancing obliviously to their derbuga and guitar strum. And the night has 1,000 eyes, all blinking and winking. The flames rise into the blackness like orange tongues. It pours freely and brings the taste of belong. The mind lets go of the stresses that keep us sinking. I dived into the desert, surrounded by dunes, ripples farther than the eye can see, shimmying into infinity. I gazed into the eye, and she gazed gloriously back at me, a serene, tranquil sea, washing away wreck's ruin, living and thriving, releasing and arriving. The magic of Sahara's sweep lays me softer, lighter to sleep. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nayma, for your wonderful rendition, and it was very powerful. Now I'll call upon Ms. Millie Das. Please unmute and take the charge, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Shilpa ma'am and Kumarji, for your beautiful and kind petition.
Ma'am, voice is not clear.
Hello.
Now it's clear.
Hello.
Yeah, now it's clear.
Hello, clear? Can you hear me? Hello. Hello.
Now you're clear. Now you're clear.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, you're audible now.
Okay. Thank you so much for your kind invitation. Thank you, Kukumarji and Shilpaji. Now I am going through my poetry, Never Broken. Some intimacy will never end like me and my sleep. Some friendship can never be forgotten like me and my love. Sometimes can't be shared with anyone like me and my sleepless night. Some memories can be erased from life, like me and my childhood. Some smells can never be forgotten, like me and my mother's sweat. Some touch can never be erased, like me and my mother's lap. Some dreams can never be broken, like me and my future. Some love will never be demolished, like me and my poetry. Some relationships can never be broken, like me and my beautiful world. Thank you so much, everyone.
It was nostalgic, Millie, and thank you for your recitation. Now I'll call Dane Ince. Ma'am, sir, I don't know. Dane, can you just unmute and switch on your camera?
Yes, hi. Hi, everyone. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can pull this poems up. Thank you very much to all the poets and to Prasanna for creating this wonderful space and for your hosting, Shilpa. It's very enjoyable. Thank you very much. I have several pieces here, some form. No verdict can restore me to the whole. The bullet took away my precious child. The wound is deep and bleeding in my soul. I waited for justice to console, the jury to condemn the act so wild. No verdict can restore me to be whole. But all I heard was silence from the pole. The killer walked away and even smiled. The wound is deep and bleeding in my soul. How could I live with such a gaping hole? How could I bear the pain that never mild? No verdict can restore me to be whole. I cry and scream and pray and lose control. I wonder if my child is reconciled. The wound is deep and bleeding in my soul. I wish I could rewind and change the role to save my child from fate so cruel and vile. No verdict can restore me to whole. The wound is deep and bleeding in my soul. This poem is filled with nothing, just longing for sound, vision, touch, climb a black seaweed ladder to sparkling stars to reach the answer unknown or forgotten. In your eyes, I miss the kiss that rang me full, filled to bliss, till I talk to my old friend who cannot walk. Oh, the stories of his life and the unspoken shadow near. So see the beauty in the nothing, the pain. This poem is filled with nothing but love again. I have some other short pieces. This poem is nothing but longing for sound and touch to reach the unknown. I climb to the stars, but find no light. Guide me. In your eyes, I miss. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dane. Now I'll call upon Lantern Carrier, who is a regular member of the events of Fertile Brains. Mr. Lantern Carrier, can you just recite your inspiring verse? Lantern Carrier. Okay, he's not responding. I think I'll call upon Mr. Dominic Windran. Mr. Dominic Windran.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I'd just like to read a philosophical poem that I composed several weeks ago, and I've revised it for this particular performance. It's called Musings in Mid-April 2023. Let us not seek asylum from the present in some contrived paradise of false wants, forgetting real needs. Rather, let us perceive patchmail and gather scattered secrets and memories from a hazy green age. Then piece by piece we could perhaps reconnect life's colourful mosaic of displaced being. Love caresses the ears with purpose, with joy and sadness. Let us be guided by the whispered words of spirits on the warm breeze, so that we may remember the oneness before our lives became fragmented and be healed. And one day when we look deep within our psyches, behind the rusted chains of pride and the clutter of unfulfilled longings, we may find the clear mirror waiting. Thank you.
Thank you. It was short and sweet and powerful also. And now I'll call upon Mr. Lanton Carrier, who is a regular member and who attends all our events almost since long time. So
I'm
please,
here.
yeah, take the charge, Mr. Carrier.
Thank you. The glories of the CA poet. I saw the CA poetess envisioning the infinite, a ray of light expressing the grandeur of her realm. A beacon of eloquence, she entered my temple, painting its shrine with a stunning brocade of flowers, patterned in silk woven in paradise, priceless and eternal. Come, come, she smiled and entreated. Let us dance in the tabernacle of her majesty. Ever conscious of her innate splendor, she wove love's celestial tapestries, designing a peerless necklace in the sacred sanctum of the heart. Come, let us fly, she whispered. Beyond the glimmering sunlight, glistening on the crest of rainbows, we flew to the abode of Coleridge, singing prose, words in the best order, poetry, the best words in the best order. I heard the howling tornadoes of the night, saw the raindrops tap dancing on my window, as the light of the horizon rode over the waves of Zion. Thus love became a gleaming fountain, sprouting through the palace of my soul. So here we were, with 100 roses of delight. Through the mist did I seek her, a fellow pilgrim of the sun. Like lovers, we held hands, walked romantically in sapphire dreams, exchanged eloquent songs of the spirit. We touched hearts with our scribbling fragrances, peeped into the promises of tomorrow's awakening morn. We merged and kissed in the citadel of the heart, embraced in the ether and overflowed in exaltations. Like butterflies, our spirit met in flight, soared elegantly, while singing psalms to infinitude. Yet the river of life moves on, its tide of consciousness beckoning us. We sojourners along the path, with all its seeming disenchantments, it is still a beautiful dream called love. Our journey continues to blossom and harvest as happiness bubbles forth into the newness and fullness of our lives. We share equally in our sorrows and reap together the joys of love's banquets. Thus will we sing life's soothing beatitudes, permeating a perennial excellence into the splendor of its soul. Lantern Carrier, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carrier. It was really a beautiful verse, a lot of compassion in it, and really life becomes complete when we are together with others and sharing our love.
Thank you.
Loneliness and living alone or having our own life in a selfish world does not give us happiness.
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now I'll call upon Megha Bharti, Dr. Megha Bharti.
Namaskar. I wish you all a very good evening. I am Dr. Megha Bharti. Thank you so much, Shilpa ma'am, for such a warm welcome. And I have been listening to all of you, and it's been a lovely evening here. So I'll dedicate my poem to all of you. Well, I will love to talk about More Than Ever. Yeah, that's the title, More Than Ever. Let there be happiness in the air and feel it more than ever. Let there be equality all around and adhere to it more than ever. Let there be love, selfless, empowering, and share it more than ever. Let there be sturdy bodies
Let there be sturdy bodies, not feminine, not masculine. Let there be sturdy bodies, not feminine, not masculine. Let there be attraction more than ever. Let there be attires and adornments for all. Let there be attires and adornments for all, not only pink, not only blue. Let there be colors more than ever. Not only pink, not only blue, let there be colors more than ever. Let there be freedom to express hearts. Let there be freedom to express minds, and let them express more than ever. Let there be children, men and women. Let there be children, men, women, transgenders. Just excuse me, I think my voice is gone.
Ma'am, just drink water.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm so sorry to consume that 1 minute of yours.
Okay.
Let there be colors more than ever. Let there be freedom to express hearts, freedom to express minds, and let them express more than ever. Let there be children, men, women, transgenders, homosexuals, bisexuals, and pansexuals. Let there be humans, let there be humanity. Let there be humans, let there be humanity, and weave it more than ever, and weave it more than ever. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being so patient.
Thank you, Ms. Megha, for just highlighting on the fact that yes, equality is needed and we are all human beings instead of being gender specific, and let's have a colorful life rather than differentiating and distinguishing and discriminating. Okay, thank you. Now I'll call upon Shalini ma'am. Shalini ma'am, take the charge, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I've been having so much of power issues. So I'm so sorry that I've been missing a bit off and on, and then I've been a nuisance, like get me back in again.
It's
but
okay.
Thank you so much. So I won't take up much time, but express my gratitude to Prasanna and lots of love and greetings to everyone present here. So honored and humbled to be with such esteemed writers, such wonderful poets. And I have 2 short poems to read. So the first one is called Roses and Dust. Our eyes met, a spark ignited, heart ecstatic, dancing, a symphony of soothing lights of unknown bliss. I was a river merging into the fathomless depths of your ocean. Love just happened. Our love was the dewdrops that cascaded joy, wanting nothing, demanding nothing. Our entire being melted into one soulful mingling of ecstasy, untouched, divine. But what happened? Did I seek for permanence in a fleeting world of illusions? The lamp burned unwavering between my cupped palms. Perhaps the breeze of expectations blew away your flickering light. I look at the dried roses, lusterless, squashed between the pages of life's endless desires, of conditions and lost hopes, demands and mundane days. Yet I will salvage tenderly the heady fragrance of you, savor the moments of love, silently, even though you don't send me flowers anymore. I read my, I'm going to read my second poem. It's called The Sacred Abode. Where the mountains are draped in a mist, unraveling slowly, peaks of mystical truth, peeping out of the veil of alabaster coverings, untouched, unshrouded, merging into the pristine sky of pure, unblemished white. There, the soul beckons to walk undaunted, fearless, to the pinnacle of my true abode, beyond the shrouds of illusion. Where the river meanders through the green forests, like the sacred Ganga, unfurled gently from the matted locks of Shiva into the thirsty valley of parched humanity. There, the soul beckons to hold the holy waters in my cupped palms and let her flow into me, a river of love and light. Where the soul whispers hymns of rare beauty in the echoes of unbroken silence, infinite realms of abiding peace. There, the soul beckons to melt into there the soul beckons to melt into your ocean of supreme bliss. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shalini ma'am. I'll say go with the flow or flow and let the flow be flowing. When it comes to love and also the abode of love.
Yes.
I think I wanted to call CC Arshagra. He's right now not on the seat. I'll call upon Prabhasastry ma'am first. Please take the charge. 1 minute, ma'am. 1 minute, ma'am. Prabhasastry ma'am, wait. Mr. CC Arshagra.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I had to step away for a second. Thank you very much. Hi, I don't know if this is my first time here, maybe second, but I try and watch. And it's good to see Michael Anthony Ingram here. And I saw his piece at the end of I try to watch these. I can't always get here on Sunday. So I'll put a whole bunch of stuff in the chat. I want to thank Prasanna for the solo interview that he invited me to do, and everyone who saw that. Thank you very much. That was a great blessing. I usually don't go all philosophical at a reading, but I did, and I love the feedback, and thank you for that. So in addition to all the stuff that I'll put in the chat, which will include my website and a contact link and a bunch of too much information, you know, what's going on with all these different little things we have to check. So I both apologize and I'll share it all, so you could do with that what you will. But in addition to that, I love to write lyrics. And even though I'm not a singer or a piano player, I do sit down and play the piano. So I'm going to do this with a little singing.
So you are a multi-talented person.
Well, yeah, we all have our faults.
Yeah.
It's called Forever Hums.
Yeah.
Life is only death, but not forever. Rivers only waters, not dry bones. You see, love is only everything's a miracle, and you and I the song forever hums. Noon is only midnight as the world dreams. Time is only clocks not broken yet. A knife is just a tool, a useful kind one that no one ever needs to harm true love with. A man is just a womb without a gravestone. A child only tears that wait to laugh. And aging, just a series of soul lessons, as if all moments equal one lifespan. While hunger is the price of dreams become form. Thirst reminds the oceans they're not sky, and eyes and ears are always learning to feel further than you see why you are here. While the ground of love is only all the sky knows, where sight becomes how beauty lets the blind see, where visions lift the heart up and rest in peace there, where you can catch your last breath and walk your soul home. You see, life is only death, but not forever. Rivers only waters, not dry bones. You see, love is only everything's a miracle, and you and I the song forever hum. Thank you. I have all kinds of new projects. One of them, Pasara, 2 people from India came. I'm producing a very new thing called, it's a local, national, international hybrid. Michael's involved, and he's the host of the Word Show podcast, which has not been released yet. He was kind enough to host the first 3 of those. That's not released yet. But yesterday, it took 7 months to put together in the library with new equipment. There was a screen, 8-foot screen, and poets from around the world. There were poets from around the United States, and then there were poets in the room. And with a little bit of luck, we pulled it off, and that'll be on the library YouTube channel. I'll put all that in the chat. Thank you very much, Prasanna, and thank you, Shilpa. Am I saying it right?
Thank you, Mr. CC. It was a very lyrical and beautiful rendition on your part, and happy to hear about your achievements and so many things you are occupied with. Now I will call upon Ms. Prabhasastry Jyoshula. Ma'am, please take on the charge.
Thank you, Shilpa. Good evening to everybody. Today I will read one more. Every day I will write in our fertilized brain. That I will read. Then I will read a small poem. So, Gunagrama Visamvadi Nama Mahatmanam Gunagrama Visamvadi Nama Mahatmanam Yatha Suvarna Srikhanda Ratnakara Sudhakara Yatha Suvarna Srikhanda Ratnakara Sudhakara. This is Sanskrit. Okay. Now I will tell you the meaning. మహాత్ములైన వారి పేరు కూడా వారి ఉత్తమమైన గుణాలను తెలుపుతుంది. చెప్పాలంటే అపరంజి, అపరంజి మీన్స్ గోల్డ్, అపరంజి బంగారమని, ఆకర్షణగా ఉండే రంగు కలగదని, చందనానికి శ్రీఖండం అంటే గంధం, సిరుల ముక్కని, అలాగే సముద్రం రత్నాకరుడు, అలాగే చంద్రుడికి సుధాకర అంటే అమృతంలా సంతోషం ఇచ్చేవాడని అర్థం. ఇలా శ్రేష్టకరమైన పేర్లను మనం పొందుతాం. Now I will read one love poem, small poem. Okay, love. ప్రేమ ఆగని దాహం, ప్రేమ ఆగని దాహం, ప్రేమించు పంచు, ప్రేమించి నేరం చెయ్యొద్దు, ప్రేమించి నేరం చేయవద్దు, ప్రేమ కోసం పరితపించు, ప్రేమించి దూరం వెళ్ళకు, ప్రేమించి దూరం వెళ్ళకు, ప్రేమ ప్రాణం తెలుసుకో, ప్రేమ ప్రాణం తెలుసుకో, ప్రేమకు న్యాయం చెయ్యి, ప్రేమే ఊపిరి తీయనిది. ప్రేమ నా కళానికి కావ్యమై, ప్రేమ నా కళానికి కావ్యమై, ప్రేమ మధురానుభూతిని చూపింది. ప్రేమ కోసం ఏదైనా చెయ్యాలి. ప్రేమ కోసం ఏదైనా చెయ్యాలి. ప్రేమ ఎన్నో పాత్రల రూపం. అందుకే ప్రేమ కోసం కాచి వేచి ఉంటాను. అందుకోసమే ప్రేమ కోసం కాచి వేచి ఉంటాను. Thank you very much, Shilpa.
Thank you, ma'am. And just one or two words I'll say about the second version, Telugu version. Yes, we must give justice to love. And as it is said that everything is fair in love and war. So we must do everything to seek love and to have our love with us.
Right.
Yes, we must at least give one try to seek the love. Right.
Okay.
Thank you. Now there is a request from Mr. Laxman Rao as he is in office. So I'll be calling Mr. Laxman Rao and then I'll call other members. Sorry, dear members, I have to call in between other members because of the request. Mr. Laxman Rao, just you can take the charge.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening and good evening each and everybody taking the call here. But I was waiting for since long time, but again, thanks a lot for giving me an opportunity. Well, I would like to go ahead with my poem here. Before I could recite, I would like to give just a gist of this poem, like memories and memoirs. Like, what are memories? Memories are the accumulated experiences of a person. As you know, like memories are the accumulated experience of a person, and the memoirs are something that you keep it, or else like how you remember them. So that's what I feel and connected to it. So here it goes. Memories and memoirs. Memories are at times disgusting and deceptive. We need to compromise for they convince us, for as in fools, we bow down to our creative spirits and enable them to talk all along the walkway. Here, what I mean to say is like we keep all the writers, or we keep all the memories inside and we try to bring them all through our walkway, all through our life, all through our experience and the travel. As in travel, we try to keep all our experiences. This is what I mean to say. So coming to the second stanza, down the memory lane with the nostalgic sense, and as nausea can be, we repeat the narrative tales, either of love's complexities or of love's or of life's adversaries, either of love's complexities or of life's adversaries. While the core common chord is that of confluence. The reason is like we bring it all into one thing, as if like confluence of all things. Everything gets influenced and gets confluence. So that's what I mean here. Well, that was one part of memories. When it comes to memoirs, so here it is. Memoirs are as bruises and badges which we wound and place them in the sacred spaces and see through the tunnel of light, how it all emerged from the darkness to light, from that of love sickness to life's wellness, from that of darkness to light, from that of love sickness to life's wellness. The longing of love is an insatiable spirited thirst. As Prabhasastry ma'am was saying regarding the love, here is my line, almost similar to her line. The longing for love is an insatiable spirited thirst. The last one is gone forever, while the life gives another thrust. Thank you. That was my poems. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Laxman Rao. And now I'll call upon I'll call upon Dr. Roopali Sircar Gaur. Ma'am, take the charge, ma'am. Roopali ma'am, am I audible?
Hello. Hello.
Okay, I'll call upon another member. I think some glitch is there with Roopali ma'am. I'll call upon Meena Chauhan. Ma'am, please unmute yourself and you can recite.
Okay. Okay. Good evening and good morning and good afternoon, everybody, every poets. Today I'm written Hindi poem, Man. Man means heart. So my heart, I talking to my heart, I'm telling her, you have lots of desires. You should control your desire. So I'm going to read in Hindi, Man. मन रे भावनाओं से भरे हो तुम, मन रे भावनाओं से भरे हो तुम, कभी रुला के हंसाते हो, कभी हंसाकर रुलाते हो, मन रे भावनाओं से भरे हो तुम, मन रे एक समुंदर की तरह हो तुम, मन रे एक समुंदर की तरह हो तुम, कामनाओं की भंवर है जिसमें लालसा की लहरें उमड़ती हैं, महत्वाकांक्षा की तीव्र बहाव, सब कुछ पाने को मचलता है मन, मन रे भावनाओं से भरे हो तुम, मन रे उदास हो तुम किस लिए, मन रे उदास हो तुम किस लिए, पूरी नहीं हुई चाहत तुम्हारी इसलिए, पूरी नहीं हुई चाहत इसलिए, जो नहीं मिला वो क्यों नहीं मिला, जो नहीं मिला वह क्यों नहीं मिला, और जो मिल गया वो कैसे मिला, और जो मिल गया वो कैसे मिला, मन रे भावनाओं से भरे हो तुम, बिन किए ही कुछ पाने की मन में ललक क्यों है, बिन किए ही कुछ पाने की मन में ललक क्यों है, कर्म है अगर जीवन में, कर्म है अगर जीवन में तो उदासी की लहर क्यों है, अगर कर्म है जीवन में तो उदासी की लहर क्यों है, अपनी रुचियों को, अपनी रुचियों को, अपनी क्षमताओं को पहचानो और पहचान करो, पड़ताल करो, मन रे भावनाओं से भरे हो तुम, कर्म ही बंधन, कर्म ही पूजा, कर्म से बंधा है यह संसार, कर्म ही बंधन, कर्म ही पूजा, कर्म से बंधा है यह संसार, अगर चाहो मुक्ति इस बंधन से, अगर चाहो मुक्ति इस बंधन से, तो कर्म में ही है दूसरा सार, तो कर्म में ही है दूसरा सार, कर्म की नैया ना हो जीवन में, कर्म की नैया ना हो जीवन में, मन रे करोगे कैसे दरिया पार, मन रे करोगे कैसे दरिया पार, मन रे भावनाओं से भरे हो तुम, मन रे भावनाओं से भरे हो तुम. Thank you so much. All poem.
Thank you, Meena ji. It was full of emotions, as well as you even mentioned that the desires and wants which are there with our emotions can be fulfilled only with our deeds only. We have to do, we have to take action. Without action, nothing can be achieved. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All the emotions in it. And now I'll move to another member, Mr. Sreedharan Parokode. Please unmute and recite your word.
Am I audible, Ji?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I'll recite my poem and in English first, and 1 minute for my Malayalam. English is titled as 1, 1, and 1. There was a bird seen sitting near a well for a long time looking at the rusted bucket once used for taking water. Its expectation of water is in vain, as there was nobody to help, so that it flew away after some time. Whether it got something to quench the thirst, I don't know. Since we are very busy and no time at all to attend the heartaches of the others, don't we have time to paying attention to pains? Yes. In Malayalam, it's Ottagal. Ottagal means one. തൊട്ടിയിൽ കണ്ണും നട്ടിട്ടേറെ നേരമായി കാക്ക കഷ്ടം ഈ തുരുമ്പുള്ള കപ്പിയിലിരിക്കുന്നു. തൊട്ടിയിൽ കണ്ണും നട്ടിട്ടേറെ നേരമായി കാക്ക കഷ്ടം ഈ തുരുമ്പുള്ള കപ്പിയിലിരിക്കുന്നു. ആരുമാ വഴി വന്നില്ല, ആരുമാ വഴി വന്നില്ല, അയ്യോ പിന്നീടേതോ ദൂരദേശത്തേക്കത് പറന്നു പോയി പാവം. ആരുമാ വഴി വന്നില്ല, അയ്യോ പിന്നീടേതോ ദൂരദേശത്തേക്കത് പറന്നു പോയി പാവം. കുടിച്ചോ വെള്ളം, കുടിച്ചോ വെള്ളം, തിരിച്ചറിയാനില്ല നേരം. എനിക്കും തനിക്കും ഈ ലോകത്തു മറ്റുള്ളവർക്കും കുടിച്ചോ വെള്ളം, തിരിച്ചറിയാനില്ല നേരം. എനിക്കും തനിക്കും ഈ ലോകത്തു മറ്റുള്ളവർക്കും. താങ്ക് യു പ്രസന്നജി. Thank you, Shilpa ji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sreedharan. I did not understand, but it was very sounding beautiful in your mother tongue, that is Malayali language. It was very lyrical and it was going on with the words and the rhythm properly.
Thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful rendition. Now I'll call upon Dr. Roopali Sircar Gaur. Earlier you couldn't say because of the glitch, I think technical glitch you have.
Thank you so much, Shilpa. Thank you so much. And thank you, Prasanna. I had actually a bout of COVID and I seem to have, lost some of my hearing. So, we're not writing about science and we're not writing about the vaccinations, which is, I think, also very important. But I think this evening, most of our poems have been about compassion. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, about compassion. It is a coincidence that Ray Whittaker read about Berlin, and I actually thought sometimes, you just want to read a kind of poem. This is a poem that I wrote in 2002. That's a long time ago. And I wrote it in a small town called Erfurt in East Germany. What used to be East Germany. I had gone there for a conference in English literature. And just a day or two before I reached Erfurt, a young boy, schoolboy, he took a gun because he had been expelled from school for failing. He took a gun and he shot dead his teachers and a large number of his friends in his class. And the whole town was weeping. Everywhere there were these little candles, flowers. It was a city that was grieving. It was completely grieving. And there was a church, I'm telling you about it so that my poem is very short. And there was a church in the center of the city, and there's a beautiful statue of Christ, and he was just looking down with so much compassion at what had happened. Now, having been since I was a teacher, I always think of the student. I always think of the other person, and I tell stories in my poem. So this is in a small little town in erstwhile East Germany, where a young schoolboy expelled for failing his grades shot dead his teacher and 13 classmates and finally himself. Was the young man denied his right to learn? Are we as educationists responsible for creating monsters? The poem is one of compassion and hope And that is the hallmark of my poetry. And I wrote this poem at midnight, and next day, it was the final day of the conference, and in the evening there was going to be a poetry session. I was not invited to read poems. They had got very well-known poets that come from all over the, of Europe. But I said, no, could you give me a few minutes to read a poem? And I read this poem, and everybody in the hall wept. And I think that is the power of poetry. O Erfurt, this poem is addressed to the city. Lonely stalker, what silence stalked the footsteps of your failure? Those fingers whose softness once curled inside mother's womb, soft as the grief-stricken flowers which lie scattered at the nailed feet of an agonized Christ. When did those fingers grow iron fists of hate and anger? Who helped them to grow in the dark caverns of a mind no one dared to touch? The wise denied their wisdom, turning your head away from the Magi's path. They left you to wander in the zigzag contours of a maze of terror. Those hands were not as soft as yours. They were collused and stained in cyanide. Those hands steeled yours with insanity, filling your outstretched palms with gunpowder. They taught you about death and nothing about life. O Erfurt, far away in my land, I have heard your heartbeat. The blood that was spilt was mine too. Your fingers, your flowers will bloom again, and the cobbled streets will wind their way up to the stairs where their teardrops glisten in the flickering candlelight, will fill with laughter again. Thank you so much. So this was for Erfurt, written in 2002, and it's a memory that stays with me. And the way the audience wept, and we can look at the world around us and write about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Roopali ma'am. The incidence of shooting is happening so much nowadays in Western countries like US. I read more, even in so much of violence I can read about it. Other countries, and I don't know why this is happening. Maybe because of exposure or because of some other things. We need to find out and have a deep thought about it. Now I'll move on to other participant here. I'll call upon Lederose Delima. Please unmute yourself and recite your words.
Good evening. Hello. Good evening, everyone. I am Lederose Delima from Philippines, but I'm working here in Hong Kong now. I'm going to recite a poem. It has the title of Lesson in Life. From the day we step our foot in this land, the future will depend on our hand. Though the book of life already written accordingly into God's plan. However, each page might change according to our free hand. To live in this world will not always easy and in grand. A lot of big waves, a strong surge, steep road and mazes that we may encounter in every strand. Some things might happen in our life unexpectedly and unplanned. But that's the cycle of life we need to understand. Just close your eyes, feel your heart. Life is an art of many reasons to be grateful and to be hopeful. We cannot stop when we get tired. We may take rest, but we need to keep going to be inspired. Be brave enough. Chase your goals. Live a life in a complete hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Delima, for your beautiful rendition and something to learn about the life, lessons of life. We all keep on learning, but sometimes we don't remember or we just repeat the same mistakes and all. Sometimes we take 2 or 3 times the same thing to learn. Now I'll call upon Mr. Sushant Thapa to recite the verse.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I will read one poem. The title of my poem is Family. So greetings everyone. The title is Family. So it goes like this. Family institutionalizes you. You build your first subjectivity and follow the rules while you learn to break it. Your mistakes are soaked and dried in the sun and shade by your managers. They are your pilgrims of a long journey. Family makes you learn your first alphabet, leading to form sentences and an entire autobiography of life. Family is the free university where you meet the first strangers and feel like them. Even differences get accepted, and time does not steal your golden years of solitude and youth. Nails that hold the family frame last as long as your soulful concrete abode. An alcove of memories burns the lighted candle of togetherness. You begin from the cold steel hospital bed and make it to your decorated, playful bedroom. The leaf of family charm grows and has a beginning. It is a beginning with no end, like the binding tree roots. Although parents depart from your life as their age unfurls the carpet of time, they make you the new leader with all the ideas to form a new family again. They equip you with the idea of family to form family tree anew. Home is your first school and family is your first teacher. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, family is an institution where all the first of our life we learn there. Beautiful words. So now I'll move on to Miss Maria. Maria, can you unmute and recite your verse? You are not audible. Unmute yourself, Maria.
Am I audible now?
Yes, now you're audible.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Oh. Good evening, everyone. And thank you, Prasanna ji and Shilpa, for this wonderful video meeting. It's always a pleasure to come here to be with you all. And I'd like to congratulate all poets for the beautiful recitation, as well their poems too. Now I'm going to recite my poem. It's a small one, and the title is about spring. Spring. Warbling birds in the sky, all of them fly right, dancing in the soft breeze, they are beauty to the eyes. A scent of flowers in the fields, a new season coming, spring, in the way, a colorful valley, the whose dilly-dally, all the heart tears distress. Do not mourn or lament at all. What brought you through sadness in past, not today and tomorrow a call. Well, this was the first one. And could I recite another one?
Yes, yes. Yes, ma'am.
The title is Farewell. When the mailman arrived in front of my door, lots of letters were in his correspondence bag. I was full of contentment and much more. Anxious am I on the awaiting. You, news whole pack. I know a message it can be to delight or sorrow. No, I put away this thought, bad track. After months, a letter of you. This is the last one.
Okay, thank you, Maria, for
Down
your
from my
recitation.
eyes. Truth is better than a lie vanilla extract. I fear next words hurt me even more. Isn't it better to face a bitter contact? Oh my goodness, I shall go ahead. Yeah, you a goodbye forever without any tag. Thank you very much. Excuse me.
Sorry, thank you, Maria. In between, I lost
Good
the
night.
track because of technical glitch. Thank you
No
for your
problem.
wonderful rendition.
No problem.
And yes, farewells are always means it gives a little bit of pain to all of us, but it was a very beautiful words. Now I'll call upon Dr. Ratan Ghosh. Can you please recite your verse?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello.
You are
Hello,
audible.
am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks, Prasanna brother, and thanks to you. And for a long time, I was absent from this program because of some problems. Hello. And I'm going to read a poem. Today morning I composed, entitled Broken Wings. Hello, am I audible? Hello. Okay.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. Broken Wings. Today morning I composed this poem. Broken Wings. I feel slowly I am. I feel slowly I am. Diluting like the drops of rain. I feel slowly I am diluting like the drops of rain from this earth, full of pain. Like many neighbors I see, like many neighbors I see, I am diluting like iceberg by the end rays of the river stream to kiss the sanctuary of my last breath. I saw they fell down one by one, like the broken Himalayan stems. I saw they fell down one by one, like the broken Himalayan stems from the bed of love, longing, and long cherished dreams. From the bed of love, longings, and long cherished dreams. Now I see my broken wings. Now I see my broken wings, being ready to meet him alone. Now I see my broken wings, being ready to meet him alone, like my neighbors, who walked away one by the streams like helpless Himalayan pebbles and stones, like my neighbors who walked away one by the streams like helpless Himalayan pebbles and stones. I weep no more. No more I weep. So for walking away, far, far, far from the bed of anger and fire. I weep no more I weep. So for walking away, far, far, far from the bed of anger and fire. I am quite tired, living in fire. I want to sleep I want to sleep. I want to sleep like snails in my blissful bed. Like snails in my blissful bed. It's ready to greet. It's ready to greet in my blissful bed. My original bed. In my original bed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ratan Ghosh. You have used repetition very effectively in your verse. Now I'll call upon Unmesh Mohitkar. Unmesh Mohitkar, unmute yourself.
Unmesh Mohitkar.
Okay, sorry, I am not able to read your name. It's very minute. Sorry, reading glasses from now. Unmesh ji, you can recite your verse.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Prasanna. Thank you, Shilpa. Prasanna, it's an amazing platform. As I always say, that is it's amazing to come here and perform. This is something very new. Here we go. Hey, mirror, can you tell what's going on in your mind? Am I looking good? Am I feeling good? Am I shattered from inside? Can you identify the facade, the makeup, the hair color, crippling fear? Can you touch the deep insecurity inside the heart? Mirror, sometimes I envy you. You are empowered not to speak. You don't have to pass judgments. You just show your truth. Your truth is not a slave to proof. The truth that the quality and angles of your glass allows. Mind you, quality of glass is the difference between a wavy and a stable image, just like quality of a person. Your angle of placement is your favorite angle. You are worried only about the truth in your arc and angle of visibility. Rest you flatly ignore. You are neither a friend nor an enemy. But you show the eyes as well. Eyes are not that wise. If you dig deeper in the eyes, you can see the treasures and trash kept there for a long time. The burning jealousy, lava of pain, generosity, pettiness, love. Mirror, your inability to speak is a boon to mankind. Your inability to speak is a boon to mankind. Speaking mirrors might have ruined our life. Speaking mirrors might have ruined our life. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Unmesh ji, but I would like to just point out to one thing. Okay, mirrors don't speak, but if a person many people do understand because of our behavior and action. We don't even speak. Maybe we are speaking something to make the other person feel nice, but our action, behavior, and our expressions do tell the other person our intentions, right? So sometimes if the person is good to catch, that our behavior and action becomes the mirror for the other person.
Yeah, but few people are very expert in hiding their emotions.
Very few. They have like in Japan, they say a person is having 9 masks over because the real person is hidden behind those 9 masks. Because every time we are wearing a mask,
yeah,
if we are at home, with every person, our behavior and we are not real ourselves.
Very true, Shilpa. Yep.
Yeah.
Very true.
So
it's something we want to portray.
Yeah. And now I'll move on to Shyamaprasad Patnaik ji. Please unmute and recite your verse.
Good evening, Shilpa ma'am.
Yeah, good
and
evening.
Thanks, Prasanna. Prasanna sir, thank you very much for inviting me to recite my poem on this amazing platform. The title of my poem, which I'm going to recite, is Transmute Hatred into Love. Love and hatred are poles apart, brightness on one side, darkness on inverse. When someone loves beloved's mystical charms, but unfortunately turns into hatred, he or she loves intensely, so couldn't recognize betrayal leading to hatred. Both emotions arise from within. If you wish to transmute hatred into love, you should be capable enough to enthrall others by your positive attitudes. Love stays alongside us with lasting fragrance. Hatred, devil, tempts and overtakes. It's better not being loved at all, rather hated by loved ones. Love always flows spontaneously, but hatred can be obstructed with love's charms. Love descends from paradise with nectar. Hatred erupts from hell with hemlock. Love is sublime and supreme, draws us closer to God's sanctum sanctorum. Hatred always suppresses our emotions and drives us far away from divinity. Let love's nostalgia flow like a perennial spring, and hatred be subdued forever. And that is the end of my poem about love and hatred. As you know, can I recite my Hindi poem, ma'am? I am a bilingual poet.
Okay. Yes. Though today it's very late, but still now only 2 are left. So you can listen.
So thank you very much. तो मेरा ये कविता का शीर्षक है यादों की सिलसिला। जवानी की वो बीती हुई सुनहरी हसीन यादों को भुलाने से भी नहीं भुलाई नहीं जाती। जवानी की वो बीती हुई सुनहरी हसीन यादों को भुलाने से भी भुलाई नहीं जाती। मन में उमड़ती उमंग और दिल में बहती तरंग कभी भी आसानी से नहीं संभल पाती। काश हम हमेशा जवान और जोशीले रह पाते तो आज उम्र की इस कगार पर नहीं पहुंचते। अपनी मोहब्बत के राह पर हम दीवानापन से इस हद तक न आते जहां से लौटना बड़ी मुश्किल और नामुमकिन सा हो गया। अपने इश्क के खातिर हमने क्या क्या जुल्म सहन किया, याद करने से खुद पर हंसी आता है। हमारे बीच छोटे छोटे मनमुटाव और गलतफहमियां कभी कभार हमारे दिल को बहुत खटकता था, पर बाद में हम दोनों के बीच फिर से सुलह हो जाती और अपना प्यार फिर से बरकरार हो जाती थी। मेरे हमसफर, मेरे जाने मन, तुम्हारे साथ बिताए हर एक पल की यादों की सिलसिला कभी खत्म नहीं होती। तो ये था यादों के सिलसिला, ये छोटा सा कविता। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
श्याम प्रसाद जी, जस्ट एक छोटी सी बात कहना चाहूंगी आपको। आपका भाव मैं समझ सकती हूँ, लेकिन कुछ थोड़ी गलतियों का सुधार करना पड़ेगा, भाषा का सही से प्रयोग करना पड़ेगा। अगर चाहे आप हिंदी में लिखे या इंग्लिश में, तो जब हमको वो व्याकरण की जो त्रुटियां होती है उस पे आप अगली बार ध्यान दीजिए। भाव अच्छा था, लेकिन थोड़ा कुछ था जो आपको उसमें आगे इम्प्रूव करना होगा। ठीक है,
ओके ओके। आई मीन नॉन हिंदी स्पीकिंग स्टेट
नहीं, वो चलेगा, मेरे को समझा आपका जो टोन था, लेकिन आप सीख रहे हैं, वो बड़ी अच्छी बात है। तो मैंने सिर्फ आपको बता दिया कि कहाँ गलती हो रही है, तो आपको वहां पे कहाँ सुधार कर। Okay, now I'll call upon Pankuri Sinha. Actually, I got confused with the other name of your board, that is Suvarna, because I got the list with Pankuri Sinha. Okay, okay, 2 are there, still more. Okay, Pankuri Sinha ji, you can recite your. I'll call upon ma'am, you also. Pankuri Sinha ji.
Madam, excuse me, madam. Madam, excuse me. Here I am, Mr. Murali. Please call me. Give me chance.
I'll call. Just have patience. Have patience. Have patience. I'll call.
I can read after Mr. Murali ji, so it's okay. I will listen to him first and then I'll read. Okay. Is that okay? Or should I read now? Shilpa ma'am?
Yes, yes, you can recite.
Okay, I thought he wanted to go ahead, so I thought probably,
no,
you know.
I'll call her after.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, and wonderful poems. I heard some of them, really amazing, and I really enjoyed the Hindi poem despite, I got it that it was, from a non-Hindi speaker. But anyways, so thank you again. And my poem is titled Serdika Metro Station. I wrote it in Bulgaria, actually. I was doing a writing residency, and there is this metro station. They have a lot of Roman ruins, and Serdika was the name of the ancient civilization there, the town. So, walking amidst the remains of Serdika, an age passes by quietly almost, till absolute order descends over extreme chaos. Time freezes or not, hard to say. But Athena comes riding her chariot, patrolling her territory, spinning and weaving threads of peace. And just as the cocoon readies to rest, Ares' arrow pierces the warmth. And once the glass breaks, it just breaks and breaks. Mars joins too. Time is not a fresco, but a melting pot. Roman legions stand guard, not even Cleopatra can diffuse the standoff. Aphrodite and Venus, nymphs and goddesses try together, but once begun, the war is a brutal sport. And not just for athletes, generals and colonels, marshals and captains, on horses and on foot, survey the land and the map. Oh, weapons and weapons, escalate the war. But have you seen paintings depicting the end? Retreating armies, death around, the stench of blood. Peace treaties are brutal too. But look, there glimmers an ancient agreement in stone's age-old writing on stone columns. 30 years peace contract. 30 years peace contract between kingdoms of Bulgaria and Byzantine. Dear Athena, call Apollo. This world needs healing, spinning around, looking for time. There isn't any. The metro's here before you board. Stretch your arms and hold. Athena's gone, but she's here. Shwetha Sophia still smiles, a bird in hand. This is Saint Sophia, the patron city, the patron saint of the city of Sophia. A bird in hand, turn around, embrace the glory and beauty of life. The train leaves, but come again to Serdika. Come again to Serdika and post peace letters to all you can. Thank you, dear friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Pankuriji. It was a message for peace and to stop wars. Now I'll call P. Suvarna ji to recite her verse.
Good evening, ma'am. It's already good night. Okay, Shilpa ma'am, thank you for calling me now. And also, I gratitude to respected Prasanna Kumar ji. I think he's not here. And I heard many of the poets' poems. Very nice to hear, and very happy to be a part of this fertile brains. The title of the poem. Now today I'm going to read is Ladies Love. While I am traveling in a bus, I have observed a lady with her expressions of love. So that one I have written is. The title of the poem is Ladies Love. Met a woman in the bus. She without any stress. Met a woman in the bus. She without any stress. With a peaceful smile on her lips. As a daisy, with a peaceful smile on her lips, with a daisy, we within a while busy, exchange conversations, come to know that she's about to give a surprise, to her love as a gift of love of surprise visit, to her love as a gift of love to her surprise visit, to her love as a gift of love of surprise visit. Love light shine as moonlight. Love light shine as moonlight on her lips. Her heart's fragrance blazed on her cheeks. Her heart's fragrance blazed on her cheeks with love. Love light shine as moonlight on her lips. Her heart's fragrance blazed on her cheeks with love. Her looks embrace her love light. Her looks embrace love light. Her enthusiastic looks of love, her enthusiastic looks of love showered on her lips as emeralds. Her enthusiastic looks of love showered on her lips as emeralds. The breath of her love seen in her sight. The breath of her love seen in her sight. She is traveling in the bus, but her heart is flying with her sweetheart. She is traveling in the bus, but her heart is flying with her sweetheart. That is what love. I sensed her love as a dove. I sensed her love as a dove. Everyone say that love is blind, but I say love is gifted. Everyone say that love is blind, but I say love is gifted as it is sighted in her eyes, as it is sighted in her eyes, as moon and the sky longing for night, as moon and the sky longing for night. That's all. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for giving
Thank you,
this
Shwetha.
opportunity. Thank you,
Beautiful
ma'am.
observation. Now, Samuel Rain, I think he left the event. Samuel Rain. Okay, now, Mr. Renukuntla Murali ji, you can recite your verse. Thank you for waiting so patiently.
Madam.
Your turn.
Madam, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all, madam. My thanks are due to Prasanna sir and Shilpa madam, all the beloved poets. Is it audible, madam?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Hello?
You are audible.
Okay, madam. Okay. My title of the poem is Drama. The world is drama. The world is drama where all the characters performing different roles in the play of the world. The characters can continue up to one's own role played in the drama. There may be so many obstacles and ghostly events occur in life as in nature. Never be disappointed in life and never care all these obstacles and go ahead and go ahead. The drama goes on until the end of the play, and life also ends with the last breathing. Let's continue the role of the characters in the play. They won't any choice to overcome the role or re-enter midst of the play or re-enter midst of the play. As the passengers get up the bus or train and get down at their stages where have to reach. Life is also like a journey. Nobody could expect the time of birth and death in this world. All the human beings are certain to death. All the human beings are certain to death as the leaves fall down above of the tree in nature, above of the tree in nature. But I would like to sing 4 or 5 lines of the poem, a lyric written by me in Telugu, madam, please.
Yes.
Chadava. It is a song written on reading, madam. Chadavali, chadavali, chadavali ra. Chadavali, chadavali, chadavali ra. Istamaina pustakalu chadavali ra. Chadavali, chadavali, chadavali ra. Istamaina pustakalu chadavali ra. చదివితే విజ్ఞానం వస్తుందిరా, చదివితే నైపుణ్యం పెరుగుతుందిరా, చదివితే విజ్ఞానం వస్తుందిరా, చదివితే నైపుణ్యం పెరుగుతుందిరా, ఇంటి నిండా పుస్తకాలు ఉండాలిరా, ఇష్టమైన పుస్తకాలు చదవాలిరా, చదవాలి చదవాలి చదవాలిరా, ఇష్టమైన పుస్తకాలు చదవాలిరా, చదివి ఆనందం పొందాలిరా, చదివి ఆనందం పొందాలిరా, అభివృద్ధి బాటలో నడవాలిరా, చదివి ఆనందం పొందాలిరా, అభివృద్ధి బాటలో నడవాలిరా, బాహ్య పఠనం చేయాలిరా, భాషపై పట్టు సాధించాలి, చదవాలి చదవాలి చదవాలిరా, ఇష్టమైన పుస్తకాలు చదవాలిరా, మనసు పెట్టి అభ్యాసనం చేయాలిరా, స్పష్టంగా పదాలను పలకాలిరా, మనసు పెట్టి అభ్యాసనం చేయాలిరా, స్పష్టంగా పదాలను పలకాలిరా, ధారాళంగా చదవడం వస్తుందిరా, జ్ఞాపక శక్తి ఎంత వస్తుందా, చదవాలి చదవాలి చదవాలిరా, ఇష్టమైన పుస్తకాలు చదవాలిరా, చదవాలి చదవాలి చదవాలిరా, సాహిత్య పుస్తకాలు చదవాలిరా, చదివితే ఒత్తిడి తగ్గుతుందిరా, చదివితే ఆలోచన పెరుగుతుందిరా, చదివితే ఒత్తిడి తగ్గుతుందిరా, చదివితే ఆలోచన పెరుగుతుందిరా, చదవడం నిరంతర ప్రక్రియరా, చదవడం అలవాటు కావాలిరా, చదవాలి చదవాలి చదవాలిరా, ఇష్టమైన పుస్తకాలు చదవాలిరా, చదవాలి చదవాలి చదవాలిరా, సాహిత్య పుస్తకాలు చదవాలిరా, చదవాలి చదవాలి చదవాలిరా, ఇష్టమైన పుస్తకాలు చదవాలిరా, చదవాలి చదవాలి చదవాలిరా, సాహిత్య పుస్తకాలు చదవాలిరా. థ్యాంక్ యూ మేడం ఫర్ దిస్ గివెన్ ఆపర్చునిటీ. Thank you very much.
You read the whole poem. It was about education and to learn to read and write literacy program in India. Anyway, it was very nice. Though you requested for 4-5 lines, but you read the whole poem. And
I am the district resource person. Madam, I conduct training class for teachers. So I have done by myself only.
And luckily I could understand Telugu, so I could understand each and every word of it. So
well, thank you.
Okay, thank you to all the members, and already it is like more almost about 3 hours now the program is on. Now I take leave from all of you, as well as thank you to Brother Prasanna and all the participants over here. Now I hand over the mic to Brother Prasanna to say vote of thanks to all the members. Thank you all. Brother Prasanna.
Thank you, Didi. I should first say my vote of thanks to you, because you definitely steered the show, and it's the credit goes to you. And yes, the participating points.
But I feel a little bit bad because Mr. Samuel could not be taken in on time, and he left in the last few moments only.
Yeah,
so I wanted to take in all the members as much as possible, but I couldn't take him. So next time we'll give him the first chance.
Shilpa, could you read a poem, please? Isn't Shilpa going to read her poem?
Yes, should.
Okay, I'll just give me one moment. I have to just copy paste something from my keep notes. Just I'll read 1 minute. Huh? I was not prepared for this, but I'll read.
Yes, thank you, Shisi. Thanks for making it today, and we missed this Cornwall Library event. But yes, you could share the details with us, and you could just announce it before Shilpa Didi read her poem. You could just announce, or you could share the links, or you could just share the information for the poets to join. Sisi, over to you.
Yes. Oh, thank you very, very much. Yes. It took 7 months for a little local library with the upgrade of their equipment. So they now have a microphone and a giant TV and a control thing with a camera that has a zoom on it and a live room in a little library in Cornwall, Connecticut, which is the northeast corner of Connecticut. Is like 26 little towns. And then Torrington is like the one little sort of city in the middle of that little corner of Connecticut. So they said yes. And then it was sort of a scramble to try to create an event where there were poets from around the world, poets from around the country, and poets in the room all together taking turns to read at one open mic. So it was amazing. It was a scramble. There were problems with getting people to sign up and who did and who didn't. The locals didn't know what it was. So they didn't actually, there were no locals signed up until the last 2-3 days. So it was almost all international, and then 3 people, and it just expanded and it went into about 18-20 people. And then other people wanted to read, and the library woman who did the hosting. It was just an amazing first time event. So I put my my website in on the chat, and I have a lot of projects. The Human Room Open Voice, my book is very important in why I do this, but mostly I want to thank Prasanna Kumar for his work with the solo project, which I didn't know what it was, and I just approached it, and all of a sudden I got all philosophical, and I really loved doing that. I really loved just breaking out of the mold of here I am, and here are my poems, into this is who we are, why we write, and what is free. And so I encourage you all to watch that. I was surprised watching myself on that one. Oh my God, I went deep on that one. So I want to really thank him for that. And then when it was all done, we talked for another half hour. I wish that was recorded. That was beautiful also. So thank you. But it's the director, cornwalllibrary.org. But you could get that information by finding me on Facebook or anything. Just send me a message saying you're interested in this international local live. Now, just to finish up, and thank you, as I know I'm taking too much time. The library only agreed to do one. So if people from around the world, and I have a feeling about 80% are going to come from India, but people from around the world take an interest in it, then the library director is going to take it to the board and say, can we do this again? So they have the room, they have the technology, and we have the location. So now I'm trying to create a platform where the world can communicate on a human level. So it's really beautiful. We got boundaries, we got wars, we got languages, we got all this stuff dividing us.
Wonderful
thank you.
work using technology.
So it's a beautiful thing, and Prasanna and Alexandra from Greece played a major role in helping me put together the scramble when the website didn't work. So I owe a debt to her. And Kathleen Holzer, who I live with, she played a major role in helping me because she knows grammar and I don't. She's a historian.
That was indeed great.
Okay, thank you. And Prasanna, we're going to have Prasanna at the next one for sure. So I want too many people just to make it happen, but.
I'll put the link in the chat box. And thank you, Sisi. That was a great talk. Having after solo session. That was. Let's jump on to Shilpa Didi and hear a poem. So
I'll just read this verse which I have written long back in 2019. It's about the unsung song of love. Love is an unsung song. The lyrics to the song are known only to us. The musical notes, the tune of the song, which is perfect for us, will never be sung again. It will remain buried, hidden, like a treasure in a tomb, like unsolved mysteries of the infinite galaxy. It's a song which only you and me can sing together, the unsung song of love, yours and mine, buried deep inside us, will never be heard again. I have recited what I have written long back in a hurry because already it's very late. And it is a love which was not completed and which couldn't be like, couldn't materialize. For that I have written. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Shilpa.
Yeah.
And for bearing with us for 3 hours.
No, I didn't bear. I enjoy
so
doing
beautifully.
it. Actually, I want to do very often, but I don't get much of the time. I am interested in doing all these things, but because of some other work and all,
you
but I
conducted
do
it
enjoy.
very
I
well.
do enjoy listening and doing this hosting and all. And especially for Brother Prasanna, I am always there. Whenever he'll just call me out to Didi, and I am always there for him.
But it is, I must appreciate, this is a hectic task for you. This was sitting 2-3 hours is not an ordinary thing.
No, I'm used to sitting 6 hours I sit. Because of my teaching work, I have to sit with kids for a very long time. So I'm used to all this. So nothing much to worry. But because of my work, I couldn't give much time to Fertile Brains. That is but maybe within 2 years, after 2 years, I'll be actively involved in this all.
But today we enjoyed quite a ride, It's also
Thank you so much, Shilpa. Thank you.
Okay,
anyways.
let's take leave now all. It is already 10. Okay. So we have to have our